Aloha, I'm Lahaina Lee, and welcome to the Maui Real Estate Advisor podcast, where we talk about buying, selling, and investing in Maui real estate. Today, our focus will be on the okumu program. It's a major recovery initiative funded through a federal HUD grant program that's bringing over $1.6 billion to Maui. Yeah, that is a huge number. But what really matters is how it's going to help our families, our neighbors, and our community rebuild after the fires. Now, I know you hear the word federal program and you might think, oh, brah, here comes the paperwork. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of that. But it's also a real opportunity here if we take it one step at a time. Okay, let's look at the big picture. How is that $1.6 billion allocated? Well, about $903 million is set aside specifically for housing programs under okumu. Here is the main breakdown. The single-family homeowner reconstruction program has $288.6 million allocated. The homeowner reimbursement program has $10 million, possibly more if there's high demand, and there probably will be. The first-time homeowner opportunity program has $92.5 million set aside. The rest of the housing money and the larger $1.6 billion pot also covers infrastructure, public services, economic recovery, and administration. That's not small change. In fact, that's more than the county normally spends in a year. The key is making sure it actually reaches the folks who need it the most, and not just getting lost in red tape and bureaucracy. Okay, so who is this money for? The program really has three main groups in mind. One is homeowners who lost or had serious damage to their property in Lahaina. The next is first-time homebuyers, people who don't currently own a home, haven't owned one in the past 3 years, and meet the income guidelines. And rebuilders is the third. People who owned before the fire and want to rebuild through a structured program. Okay, if you're a renter, someone that's renting now and has been dreaming of owning, this is where your ears should perk up. This time, renters are actually front and center in a housing program. Okay, that sounds pretty good, but who's not included and what are their frustrations? Well, there are some gaps, and people have been vocal about them. If you already owned a home, but you're not rebuilding through this program, you might not qualify. If you took out loans from FEMA or the SBA early on, you may not be eligible for reimbursement. That has created frustration because folks who borrowed ended up with debt, while those who waited might be getting grant money right now. I attended one of our recovery meetings in Lahaina second week in Wednesday of August last month. And there were a lot of angry people in the audience. You know, it's hard to not feel a little bit like you're getting punished for having done the responsible thing. I've heard that from more than just a few people. Okay, moving on. Earlier, I mentioned income guidelines. Now, this is where the AMI, the Area Median Income, comes in. Most of the programs are tied to a percentage of the AMI. For Maui, 140% of AMI works out to roughly like this as of 2024. One-person household, about $126,000 a year. Two-person household, about $144,000. Four-person household, about $180,000. So it's not just for low-income families. Plenty of middle-income, working-class folks can qualify. So if you're sitting there thinking, I probably make too much money to qualify, maybe not. It's worth checking into because the bar is much higher than we were originally led to believe. All right, so how does this work? What's the process? Well, applications will roll out in phases, and that's actually just started. The basic steps look like this. Number 1, register online with the program portal. Number 2, take the intake survey where you'll give details about your situation. 3, provide documentation like income, insurance, FEMA and SBA records. And 4, if you're rebuilding, you'll likely need to use a pre-approved floor plan or work within the program guidelines, but there is some flexibility as I understand it. Yeah, and so it's not just going to be like zip zop and you're done. You're going to need some patience and some paperwork. But if you can get some financial assistance through this program, it seems like it's going to be well worth it. Okay, so what's the catch, or what are the other catches? Well, there are affordability and occupancy rules. Here's a big one. If you get assistance through okumu, you'll likely need to sign an affordability or occupancy agreement. So this means you have to live in the home as your primary residence. Makes sense. You can't immediately flip it and make a quick profit. That seems pretty okay too. The restriction lasts for anywhere from 5 to 99 years, depending on how much assistance you get. Now, if you do decide to sell during that period, there will be resale restrictions, or the county may have first right of refusal to repurchase the property. In plain English, this program is meant to keep homes in local hands, not turn into a quick payday for speculators. So if you're thinking, oh, I'll grab a grant and sell next year, yeah, this is not that program. And like everything that's happened since the fire, this program has its own controversy. Like any big program, there are pros and cons. On the plus side, this is real money to rebuild homes, and renters finally have a path to ownership. Also, federal funding means the county is not footing the whole bill. The other side, some groups, like homeowners who borrowed money early on, feel left out. And there are restrictions on rebuilding and resale that frustrate folks who want flexibility. And finally, the application process can feel intimidating. The bottom line is there's hope here. Yeah, there's also plenty of paperwork and fine print, but there are a lot of people who are willing to help out by providing support and guidance. So be open to asking and receiving. That is the 30,000-foot big picture of Ho'okumu. Over the next few weeks, I'll be doing some follow-ups, deep dives into the application process as that becomes more clear, the income limits, and hopefully have some real stories of Lahaina folks navigating this. So if you or someone you know is wondering, do I qualify? Is this going to be worth it? Well, don't just guess. Ask questions. We've got a great team of seasoned, well-trained agents standing by to help out. That's all for now. So thanks for tuning in, and from the greatest island on earth, this is Lahaina Lee saying, Aloha! Tony Brown produced this podcast. The information provided in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. It's not intended as a recommendation to invest in real estate or any other financial asset. We are not financial planners, certified public accountants, or attorneys. You should consult with a qualified professional before making any financial, legal, or investment decisions. All investments carry risk, and past performance is not indicative of future results.